That was great, Vito. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Yep. Oh my gosh. We have so much fun working together. I was cleaning out my closets and photo albums and everything. I found a picture from my wedding with Greg 25 years ago in August, and there was Vito playing. I'm like, little did I know way back then that he would be such an important person in my life, but it's amazing. I'm really proud of all the work we've done together. Okay, so we know Ides of March today. We know St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday. But what is today? Today is Oscar Day. The Academy Awards are tonight. Oh my gosh. To me, this is a national holiday. Like, okay, bigger than the Super Bowl. Okay, I mean, for us movie buffs, this is the day where we just camp in front of the TV with our popcorn and watch the red carpet. I mean, from like 3 o'clock on, I am glued to the TV watching the red carpet and every single award. And usually I've watched every single movie, so I have my picks and my... But this year is a little bit different. I'll get to that later. But what I was thinking is there's a difference between real life, R-E-A-L life, and R-E-E-L life, right? That's what we think. But real life isn't so real anyway. I mean, but sometimes things happen and you're just like, we can't make this stuff up, right? Real life is crazier than anything anybody could ever make up. So as most of you guys know, I'm in the process of trying to relocate and everything. So one of the things we've been doing is trying to sell off our stuff, give away our stuff, donate our stuff, all that stuff, right? So we had this basketball hoop that I put in the driveway for the kids. I thought the kids will come over. That'll be a draw. They'll want to play basketball. Of course, we've lived there 7 years. Nobody's ever played basketball. One of the reasons why we're moving, we don't need this basketball hoop. I actually got it free on nextdoor.com from somebody else who was in the same situation, right? So this poor basketball hoop has not seen any love in a long time. But we got a call from a guy who's like, yeah, I want it. I got 2 boys. Yeah. I'm like, oh, great. Give it to him. Just give it to him. He'll take it away. And he talked to my husband, Greg, and he's like, yeah, I got a truck. No problem. And Greg said, well, when you get here, give me a call and I'll help you put it in the truck. And the guy's like, no, it's okay. I'm a big guy. I can handle it. And Greg says, no, I'll help you. Don't worry about it. So he goes, okay, I'm pretty close. I should be there in about 20 minutes. So Greg's waiting and waiting. 20 minutes comes, goes. He's like, maybe he's late, whatever. So he gives the guy a call. He says, hey, I thought you were going to be here in 20 minutes. Are you still coming? Are you still on your way? And he goes, oh, I've been and gone. I came and put it in my truck and took it away. And Greg's like, well, wait a second. I'm looking at my basketball hoop right now. I didn't see you come. You didn't take it. I don't know whose basketball hoop you have, but it's not ours. And the guy is going, oh, shoot. So Greg says, okay, take it back. Put it back where you went, and let me give you directions again. Come to my house. So the guy puts the basketball hoop back that he grabbed, comes to our house. They put it in the truck. He's on his merry way. Meanwhile, Greg's going, where did he go? Turns out it was like 2 doors down. And you could see it's almost the same directions, go towards the end of the cul-de-sac. You see a long driveway. At the end of the driveway on the right, there's a basketball hoop. That's where the guy went. So then Greg's thinking, well, this guy 2 doors down from us, he's got a Ring camera. He's going to see on his Ring camera that somebody came and stole his basketball hoop and then put it back. So Greg calls the guy and says, look, just letting you know what happened here. And he tells him the story. So don't call the cops, okay? It was innocent enough. But you can't, I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. So I tell my friend John this story, who's in showbiz himself, and he goes, "Oh, this would be a great premise for a movie. Like, can you imagine Mark Wahlberg and Jason Bateman, and they accidentally take the wrong basketball hoop, and the wrong one belongs to this gangster who hid money in the base, and blah, 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 and they end up with it, and then the guys come back, and it's missing." I'm like, oh, my gosh. Okay, now I got another movie to write, so. So this world is it's just craziness. What do we see? What do we see around us? How do we interpret all of it? And what comes to mind, especially with all the political stuff in Washington, D.C. and everything, what comes to mind to me is the Serenity Prayer, which we learned from the 12-step program, but it really applies to all of us. It really does. And that is, God, grant me the wisdom to change the things I can change, to accept the things I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we can say to change the things I can control, right? And to accept the things I can't control. That word control, that's a big thing, because we feel Washington is out of control. We can't control it. What can we do? But we don't have to feel helpless. We need to know that there are people whose job it is, who've dedicated their lives to fixing this, to doing things. And we have to have trust in them and support them and pray for them, right? And let them know that they have our support and what we want them to do, what is right. That's what we can do. So as I'm packing up and giving things away, I'm learning this lesson all over again about letting go, about not having attachments. And I'm learning that as the piles get smaller of things, right, that I'm giving away or whatever, the smaller things that are left are the things that are more important and that are more meaningful. And it's like writing is rewriting. That's a big lesson you learn when you're learning writing and you're in a writing group. Writing is rewriting. You write it, but then you rewrite it and you make it better and you rewrite it again and then you edit it down and then you come up with something that's so good. Like, that's it. That's it. And I think that's how our life is too. And I thought, last month we talked about Mission Impossible, and we touched on how in Mission Impossible they don't write a script like most movies. They write a script and then they shoot a movie. Mission Impossible, they think of these crazy stunts and then they write a movie around it as they're shooting. Like, where is the stunt going to fit in? And that's like our lessons in life. We have these lessons in life, and we talked about the 7 chakras and how it relates to the 7 chakras, and our life is written around those. How do we know those? But I kind of want to do a part 2 now to think, how are we gonna write this life? How are we gonna do it? What decisions are we gonna make, to change the things we can control, to change the things we can change? So it's interesting because this year at the Academy Awards, the top 10 films, 9 of them are very dark and they're about grief. And movies usually reflect the times. And we are going through a struggle right now on a not just a national basis, but on a global basis. And we are feeling it now here. And that grief is reflected in our own lives, whether we're having a loss of a relationship, a loss of life through illness, a loss of stuff, money, whatever it is, we're feeling that loss. So what can we do to make our world the best world it can be during these trying times? So when you write a movie, there are 5 things you need to know. The first is you need to create a world. So this is, sometimes movies are set in the olden days, like Hamnet, one of the movies that's nominated for Best Picture this year, is based on William Shakespeare's life and the real life story of his little son that died. And it's a sad movie. It's so well done, but it's set in old England, right? And they didn't have cell phones, and they didn't have great medicine, and didn't have like great transportation. And so here's William Shakespeare out of town all the time, working in London, the city, and his wife is home with the kids in the country, so they don't see each other very much. And it's a strained relationship, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. But that's like the world that it's set in, right? But we're set in the modern day world. And in Vedic sciences, you can't choose, now that you're born, okay, like on the other side, you might choose your birthday. But now that you're here, you can't change your birthday. You were born on the day you were born, right? So you're born with the zodiac sign that you have and the planets, where they are and everything. That's done. That's written in stone. You can't change your family. You're born to the family that you're born to. You can't change that, right? Accept it. You can't change it. Your spouse, they say in Vedic philosophy, you can't even choose your spouse because that's a karmic connection. And it's like you can't help who you fall in love with. You can't help who you're bound to. It just, as much as you try, you're like, I'm going to do it. I know it's the wrong thing, but I'm going to do it. You know, like you just can't help it. For some reason, you just can't help it. But you can choose where you live. You can't choose where you were born, but you can choose where you can move to. So that's one way we can choose our world and where we choose to set our movie. And then characters is the second thing. So who are we going to pick to be our characters? So I kind of got ahead of myself. Yeah, we can't pick our family. We can't pick our spouses. We can't, pick our parents. But we can pick our friends. We can pick our community. And we can pick our teachers. That's a big thing that we can control. What are we going to listen to? Who are we going to listen to? Who are we going to spend time with? Who's going to add value to our lives, joy to our lives, love to our lives? That's a really important thing. And what I think is essential is that we understand the Creator has got to be in our cast of characters, whoever you want to call this Creator. Now, I think this is a really cute thing that's going around. A lot of people, they're afraid of the G word, God. I'm not. I say God all the time. That's my name for God, is I just call God God. But some people say God, universe, spirit, or God, universe, source, like meaning everything, whatever you want to name that being. So the acronym for God, universe, spirit is GUS. So they're saying, let's just call God Gus. And I'm like, okay, Gus. It makes him like a friend, right? Like Krishna or Buddha or whatever. It's like Gus. Gus is my friend. Gus is on my side. Gus, what do you think of this? So flashback to in January, I was in Australia. Greg and I are trying to decide, should we move to Australia or not? We want to see some houses. We want to see what it's like. We want to see what we can afford. We want to see neighborhoods. Where are we going to be? we were calling all these realtors. Nobody's returning our calls. We were trying to get references for people, but in Australia, it's not like here. There's a selling agent, the person who represents the selling, and then a buyer's agent. And we kept getting these selling agents who said, no, I can't show you houses because that's not what I do. I represent the house. I'm like, okay, well, okay. So we're like, what are we going to do? Well, we'll have to wait till the next trip or whatever. The phone rings. I don't recognize the number. It's an Australian number. Hi, I'm a buyer's realtor, and one of the seller's realtors gave me your number. I understand you want to see some houses. I have time today if you're free. I'm like, okay. I don't know who this guy is, but he sounds really nice. And he goes, where are you? I'll come meet you. I'm like, okay, we're in this suburb and you can come meet us. By the way, I'm Lisa. And what's your name? Gus. You cannot make this stuff up now. Gus is now he took us everywhere in Australia. He is now our representative in Australia trying to find us a house. I'm like, thank you, Gus. Oh my gosh. Okay, so then the third aspect of our movie that we're writing is the story. What is our story going to be? This is more our inner world. And our story, whatever it is, a comedy, a drama, an action picture, all these movies, what do they have in common? It's a story of self-discovery. Always. Whether it's Top Gun or Dumb and Dumber or Pretty Woman, whatever it is, it's a story of self-discovery. That's our life. Our life is a story of self-discovery. So knowing that, when we see this through our lens, we can write our story as we choose it to be. And it's interesting because we are seeing our story through our eyes. Other people are seeing our story through their eyes. So they may have a different interpretation, but it's our story, so that's what matters. Now, if you've ever grown up with siblings, like I have, I'll be telling a story of something that happened in our childhood. Oh, remember that time, blah, 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 and I did this, and then you did that, and then mom did this, and whatever. And my sister will say, that's not what happened. From her eyes, this happened, and that happened, and mom did this, and you did. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? But that's how it is. And it's equally valid, because through my eyes, this is what happened. Through her eyes, that's what happened. Whatever happened through my eyes happened for my growth, and that happened for her growth, but it was the same thing at the same time. Life is amazing. Everybody's got their own story, and that story is yours. So own it. Own it. Okay, the fourth element that we have in our movie is the action. Something's got to happen. A movie has to have action. You know, there's the dialogue things, and then there's the action, the slug line. This happened. This happened. In our life, action, that's karma yoga. It's our work. It's our activity. It's our purpose. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? The other thing is, what are you not going to do? When are you going to rest? When are you going to meditate? When are you going to be quiet? This stillness is equally important to the action in our lives. There's so much science right now about how people in this day and age, in this society, have anxiety like crazy. Crazy anxiety. And they're saying it's because we're doing too much. We don't rest. We don't go out in nature and just sit there and think. No, we're taking the phone and we're looking or doom scrolling, right? Doom scrolling. Or we're on the phone, or we're in front of the computer, or we're binging a show, or we're, working or driving or whatever. We need stillness. We need that balance. Otherwise, we're just going to go crazy. It's not going to be a crazy world. It's going to be us being crazy. Can't do it. Okay. And then the last thing, the fifth element in our story is dialogue. Words carry weight. What are we saying to people? What are we saying to ourselves? What are we thinking? What are we reading? What words are we reading? What words are we studying? What movies are we watching? All of that is important. When are we being quiet so we can hear that inner voice? I find this is really important because one of the things I found in all of my piles is I found a box of probably every greeting card that was ever given to me in my whole life. I saved them. Okay, maybe I'm a hoarder. Maybe I'm sentimental. I don't know what it is. But yesterday I went through them, and I'm like, if it was just kind of a generic, oh, happy birthday or whatever, I'd put it in the toss pile because it's okay. But the ones that had the personal writing in there and everything, I was bawling my eyes out. I'm like, oh my God, what am I leaving behind here? There was cards from Pamela. There was cards from the church, like birthday cards that everybody signed. I kept all that. I'm like, this means so much to me. There was, cards from my husband, happy anniversary. Most of them just love Greg, okay, forget it. That's fine. But the ones where he said something really sweet, I saved that because, when I'm down, that's the kind of thing I want to read. That's the kind of thing. There was one from my sister. It was just like a little Post-it note. But this is like, I got to use this line in one of my movies sometime because it's so cool. She said, "Thank you for always taking care of it." Is that so cool? I feel like I'm the godfather. I can just take care of it. But the fact that somebody noticed it, that somebody appreciated it, oh my gosh. I was literally bawling yesterday, but I did get the pile a lot smaller, and that was really good. It reminded me of when I was younger, and I was so hooked on soap operas. I love stories. Like you guys know, I love stories. I love telling stories. I love hearing stories. And sometimes in high school, I would cut class, or at lunchtime, I would ride my bike home, watch All My Children on TV, and ride back, right? Because I was so hooked on I don't think my mom even knows that I did this, but I did it a lot. There was one character on that show that influenced my life in a big way, Erica Kane. Has anybody watched All My Children? Erica Kane. Erica, to me, was such a hero, such an example of a strong woman who would not settle for less. She always went for what she wanted. She knew she was meant for better things, and she didn't let anybody tell her otherwise. And I remember there was this one scene where she was, I don't know how it happened, but she's all dressed up, and she's in the forest, and she meets a bear. And this bear comes up to her. They probably did it just with CGI or something. I don't know. Or it's probably a bear costume because the soap opera is back in the 80s. Come on. A bear. And she stood up to that bear and she said, "I am Erica Kane." And the bear ran away. And it just reminded me, when you say, "I am," that is so powerful. I am, follow that by your name, right? That is the most powerful thing. Follow that by, I am joyous. I am powerful. I am loving. I am loved. Remember that. That's your identity. Identify with all that positive stuff. Okay, and that wraps it for me. Let's do our prayer. I'll direct this prayer to Gus. Show me where I need to go. Tell me what I need to know. Give me the seeds I need to sow. I'm grateful for this gift of growth. And so it is. Om Tat Sat.